I think you've made a mistake. We're not heroes.
There's no mistake. Aslan is on the move.
So what happened to the Silver Chair in the first place? Even though it's the fourth book published in C.S. Lewis's series, it actually falls sixth in chronological order. The story picks up with Eustace Scrubb, who fans met in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and a new character, Jill Pole. The two of them get swept into Narnia by Aslan and sent on a mission to rescue Prince Rilian, the missing son of King Caspian. Turns out, Rilian is being kept under a spell by a mysterious and dangerous sorceress known as the Lady of the Green Kirtle. After a bunch of trials and near-death experiences, they manage to break the spell, reunite Rilian with his father, and help him take his rightful place as king. Then, Eustace and Jill head back to England, their mission complete. As it happens, back in 2018, a rather intriguing project was in the works. Before he retired, director Joe Johnston, who is best known for Captain America: The First Avenger, had intended to create the Chronicles of Narnia: The Silver Chair. Most people didn't know this at the time, but it looked like Narnia was getting another shot on the big screen. Fast forward a few years, and things have shifted dramatically. Now, with Greta Gerwig, the visionary behind Barbie, attached to Netflix's upcoming Narnia reboot, the idea of returning to Narnia is getting fans excited all over again. Sounds like the perfect setup for a movie, right? But things didn't go quite as planned. The earlier Narnia films started strong, especially The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but box office numbers dropped with each installment. That downward trend made studios nervous. Walden Media, which originally held the film rights, considered switching gears to adapt The Magician's Nephew as a kind of soft reboot or prequel, but when they lost the rights in 2011, that idea was shelved. In 2013, the Mark Gordon Company picked up the rights, and fans were cautiously optimistic. By 2017, with Joe Johnston announced as director, it finally looked like The Silver Chair was going to happen. But delays kept piling up, and eventually the project fizzled. The biggest issue? The original cast had aged out of their roles, and this film wasn't going to bring them back. That included big names like Liam Neeson as the voice of Aslan. A full reboot with new actors was the only real option at that point. Then, Netflix stepped in around 2018 and acquired the rights to the Narnia franchise. They announced big plans, movies and series, but so far, no new Narnia content has made it to the screen. Still, the news that Greta Gerwig is taking the helm is a major game-changer. Her creative style, emotional depth, and talent for reimagining beloved stories could breathe new life into the Silver Chair, or at least bring the world of Narnia to a new generation in a way that sticks. Adapting Narnia stories has always been a challenge, mostly because of the tone. The books are relatively short and geared toward younger readers, but the world building is massive. Translating that to a feature-length film or a series takes some stretching. It's not just about visuals either. It's about making the characters and their emotional journeys resonate with a modern audience. Greta Gerwig is well known for doing exactly that. Her take on Little Women added layers of complexity and emotion that made the story feel fresh and relevant without betraying the source material. One reason The Silver Chair has so much potential right now is because it hasn't been done to death. While The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has seen multiple versions over the years, The Silver Chair is still relatively untouched. That gives Greta some creative breathing room. She could dive deeper into Prince Rilian's mental state, expand the eerie atmosphere of the Lady of the Green Kirtle's underground world, and give Jill and Eustace richer development arcs. All of that could turn what's often considered a mid-tier Narnia book into a cinematic highlight. Of course, Gerwig's reboot wouldn't just be about the Silver Chair. There's also talk about where to begin the story overall. The chronological order of the books puts The Magician's Nephew first, even though it was published sixth. That book tells the origin story of Narnia, how Aslan created the world, how the wardrobe came to be, and how evil first entered the realm. Choosing to begin the series there could be a bold move, but it might confuse viewers who grew up watching the older films in release order. It's a tricky balance between honoring the author's vision and maintaining audience expectations. Another factor that could help The Silver Chair succeed this time around? The cast. A bunch of fresh faces and rising stars could give the film a major boost. We've seen how smart casting can transform a franchise. Just look at what Dune did with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. For the silver chair, the roles of Jill and Eustace need actors who can handle adventure, emotion, and some of that classic British wit. Maybe even someone like Bella Ramsey from The Last of Us or Roman Griffin Davis from Jojo Rabbit could bring the right mix of charm and grit. For the Lady of the Green Kirtle, someone like Anya Taylor-Joy or Jodie Comer could really make that role both enchanting and terrifying. And if Greta Gerwig wants to make the silver chair a box office hit, she could even throw in a few well-known names in supporting roles. A high-profile Aslan voice, maybe Idris Elba or even Benedict Cumberbatch, would definitely draw attention. Plus, adding actors with big fan bases could attract a wider crowd. Netflix has been pretty successful when they mix well-known talent with rising stars, and this could be the perfect formula to make Narnia cool again. Still, adapting later books like The Last Battle will be much tougher. That story dives into some heavy and controversial territory, including the final fate of the Pevensie siblings. Susan's exclusion from Narnia's version of paradise because she likes nylons and lipstick has been heavily criticized as sexist. If Netflix wants to keep this universe going, they'll probably need to rework that plotline to make Susan's story feel more respectful and empowering. There's also the issue of cultural representation in Narnia. The portrayal of the Calormenes in The Last Battle has long been a point of debate, with many critics pointing out the Orientalist and racially insensitive undertones. If Gerwig wants to take the franchise in a modern direction, she'll need to address those outdated elements head-on. It's not about erasing the past, but rather adapting it thoughtfully to reflect current values. While fans are excited for what's coming, it's clear the reboot has a lot riding on it. Even the original cast members have weighed in. William Moseley, who played Peter Pevensie, recently spoke about how much he'd love to return to Narnia in some form. He's been keeping in touch with Georgie Henley and Anna Popplewell, and he said the cast still feels like a family. Skander Keynes, who played Edmund, has shifted careers and now works in politics, but he hasn't ruled out a comeback either. That said, most of them have moved on to other projects. Moseley, for example, is currently starring in Murder Company, a World War II thriller that explores untold stories from the war. He admitted he didn't know much about that part of history before, but the role helped him dive deep into the era. As for Gerwig's reboot, there's real hope that it could be the fresh start Narnia needs. By casting exciting new talent, expanding the stories in thoughtful ways, and staying true to the emotional heart of C.S. Lewis's work, the Netflix series, and especially The Silver Chair, could finally give this beloved fantasy saga the cinematic legacy it deserves. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.